What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today we have some Allen Lazard news that has some major roster implications, and two of the newest Jets share some optimism about joining the team. Let's start with this. It's honestly kind of a big one. According to Brian Costello, Allen Lazard told him that he is on track to play in week 1. Now, like I said, this is major roster implications because many, including people like myself, thought that Allen Lazard would be a good candidate for short-term IR, which means he wouldn't be good to go for the first 4 weeks of the year. And if that was the case, could potentially open up spots on the roster for guys like, Jamal Pritchett and Brandon Smith. With Allen Lazard expecting to go in week 1, that means that he's likely to make the 53-man roster, thus taking away a spot from one of Jamal Pritchett or Brandon Smith. Based on training camp in the preseason, Pritchett absolutely seems like he is going to be this team's punt returner. So I don't know if that really impacts him per se, but that absolutely could have a factor on Brandon Smith making the roster or not. With Allen Lazard, I think the Jets carry 6 wide receivers. Even without him, I thought they would carry 6, but probably has Brandon Smith on the outside looking in. You would think Garrett Wilson, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Jamal Pritchett, Arian Smith, and Allen Lazard are your 6 wide receivers, unless the Jets get creative and carry 7. But based on how the rest of the roster is going to go, I don't know how likely that is. We'll see. I guess obviously there's a chance they could still put him on short-term IR. It wouldn't be the first time that a player feels like they're ready to come back and play and the team feels differently. But we'll keep a close eye on this the rest of today and tomorrow. The Jets have to cut down their roster to 53 by tomorrow. So we will have updates for you again over the next 24 hours or so on what the Jets' final roster is going to end up looking like. This video is powered by Chubbies, the ultimate football apparel brand, so much so that they created their own fantasy football league. George Kittle, Ian Rappaport, and others have come together to assemble the Chubbies League on NFL Fantasy. Each week, the top 5 scorers will win a chance at a Chubbies polo shorts combo with their team's logo, like the one that I'm rocking. Super comfy, stretchy. Absolutely love it. The grand champion gets the chance at the ultimate fan experience, a 5-city, 5-stadium NFL game tour with a +1. While the fantasy flop faces a hilarious and unforgettable punishment only Chubbies can pull off. Head to chubbyshorts.com/thechubbiesleague to learn more and have some fun. Get ready for the most outrageous fantasy football season of your life. And would you look at that, folks? For a limited time, our friends at Chubbies are giving our listeners $10 off with the promo code O'Leary at chubbyshorts.com/O'Leary. $10 off your order includes, obviously included with the promo code for Chubbies O'Leary, includes the NFL collection. Support our show. Tell them we sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubbies. We also heard from Harrison Phillips today and Javon Briggs. We'll start with Harrison Phillips as he talks trade to the New York Jets.
Actually, Kevin O'Connell, when he told me I was being traded, kind of talked up what's happening here and gave me a little bit better understanding. It's been a few years since I've kept up with the AFC East news. I used to play, in Buffalo for 4 years, and I've just known how much this city wants to win. And I've known that for a long time. I've known about Jets fans for a long time, playing against these guys twice a year for 4 years. And, man, like I said, you just could feel the optimism amongst the players, the staff, the new wave of people that are coming in here. And so, like I said, I'm just really excited. Initial shock. And then once I got to kind of decipher and peel back the layers of the onion, I was like, this is going to be a great opportunity.
The quote that stood out to me is you can feel the optimism among the players and staff. And, clearly came as a little bit of a surprise for him to get traded. He was a captain on that defense in Minnesota and, ends up going to the New York Jets. But one of the things that, he mentioned was that his head coach, Kevin O'Connell, kind of filled him in on what's been happening here and how this thing is trending in the right direction. That feels like that's the consensus around the league right now. We don't know what it's going to look like this year, but there seems to be, the players and the staff, they are confident in this thing getting right. And it sounds like Harrison Phillips wants to be a part of that. And with his leadership that he's shown in both Buffalo and Minnesota, I think absolutely makes a ton of sense for this team. Likely going to play, big snaps or a high percentage of snaps next to Quinnen Williams. Javon Briggs also was asked about Aaron Glenn. I love this quote. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great dude. You know, obviously my first time meeting him was pretty much 3 days ago. But yeah, from everything I've heard about him, everything I've learned from talking to him, he's a great guy, very personable, and, you know, he understands what he's doing because, you know, I'm here. So
He understands what he's doing because I'm here. I love that answer from Briggs. It was maybe a little tongue-in-cheek, but she just showed off some personality there a little bit. And Briggs is someone I absolutely expect to make this team and be a part of that rotation. Honestly, I think you can make the case that he's the number 3 guy in the rotation behind Quinnen and obviously Phillips, who they just traded for. They do a pick swap for Briggs. They traded Derek Nottie back to the Chiefs yesterday. So the Briggs trade basically ends up as a wash. And, you know, you have guys like Tufele and Byron Coward if and when he's healthy. But, you know, we'll keep an update or an eye out, I guess, on an update on Byron Coward and his health. Don't have one as of recording this on late Monday morning, but Briggs will absolutely be a rotational piece on this team and, you know, looked really good in Cleveland. It was just a numbers game and the Jets capitalized on it. Jets captain Quinnen Williams was asked about the Harrison Phillips trade and had this to say.
I was super excited, man. I've been a fan of his for a little minute, man. The things that he done at Buffalo and the things he done at the Vikings with that successful defense and the things that they did great last year. I was super excited to bring him in and teach us some things, teach me some things, and to help the defense be what we know it can be. So it's a great thing.
He's been a fan of his game for a minute. Obviously talks about his veteran presence. He's a little bit older, 29 years old, not on the wrong side of 30 just yet, but still a veteran in this room and a productive player. Like, that really matters, and I think raises the floor of what this Jets run defense can be. And, you know, we talked a lot about it this offseason. Before the draft, I mentioned that the Jets should probably look to add an interior defensive lineman. They waited, but because unfortunately they weren't set at that position, the Jets were kind of forced to go out there and make the necessary adjustments on the roster. So that'll do it for me in this one, guys. We'll be back with any other news that comes out later today. I'm Matt O'Leary. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.